Senunku. My name is Patricia Ali. I am from Nigeria. I'm from the northern part of Nigeria. And I am so glad to be here and to share my story with you. Okay, I will start by talking about the context in which I applied transformative learning theory. First, I am working with women who have never had formal educational experiences, and how do I begin to facilitate transformative learning theory with them. And so that has led me further into first, understanding their context, understanding the struggles that they deal with and the challenges that they have. And that has been very inspiring for me. And so I just realized that what better way can I be with them? Can I get to know their experiences than to hear their stories? And so what I have done is work with them by collecting the stories. And so I believe that storytelling, narrative inquiry has the potential to make people to reflect. And so that was some of the things that I discovered in the course of my work. Okay, I appreciate transformative learning theory because it over time as adults we have experiences that have created patterns and how we deal with things around us. And transformative learning theory allows us to critique, to reflect, and then critique those assumptions, beliefs, and values that we have developed over time. And how can we find our way around that to deal with contextual issues and to begin to think differently about the problems and challenges we have in our context. Personally, I came across transformative learning theory as I studied. I had a professor who introduced me to transformative learning theory, and it just clicked. It just made sense to me because it was like, oh, this is what I have been saying. You know, as adults, we already coming into classrooms or into relationships or whatever with our preconceived notions, and so that has hindered or facilitated our transformation and our relationships and our work life and our communities. But if we have the capacity to reflect on our assumptions and beliefs and values, it helps us to deal with the other. It helps us to see other perspectives and to appreciate them and begin to think differently about how we see ourselves or how we see our work. And so personally, when I came across it, I was reading. I read, I was taking a course on leadership, so I read Ronald Heifetz and some other leadership materials, and I realized that the shift in leadership is from the heroic leader-centric model to relationship, to actually creating processes where people can empower themselves rather than the hierarchical way of addressing problems in context. And so that worked for me. So that became a disorientation for me. Like, oh, leadership is not about a position, rather it's about processes. And so that was huge for me. Yeah. Joining the transformative learning conference or the team who have been talking about transformative learning theory made me realize that I was joining a wagon of people who are challenging the status quo, of people who are thinking differently about what we've been used to. And so I felt like I embraced the journey of mutuality to a new discovery of talking about everything, because transformative learning theory is used by practitioners, is used by researchers, is used by educationists, you know, just different aspects of life, talking about what transformative learning theory does and how it can be applied in every field of life. First, I would start with my readings, and then I had personal issues in my life that just really challenged what I believed about myself. At one point, my engagement was broken, and that kind of pushed me to rethink about what is the next step in my life? How do I begin to think differently about myself, about my role, about my future? And that brought me to a place where I was beginning to just reflect deeply, and it took me to a journey of self-discovery. It took me to a journey of being able to be vulnerable to myself and to people around me, and that has really changed my life. Yeah. I really appreciate the art element in the conference so far. It has. I grew up in a context where you never have appreciation for art. Um, well, we have the kind of art that we do, but I don't think I had that awareness, you know, and now just being here has really challenged that mindset. It has opened my mind of different ways to think about using art to express, you know, our emotions and express the ideas that we're bringing alive to people. And that has been wonderful for me. And one takeaway would be the fact that the community here was really amazing. You know, it felt like we're open to whatever transformative learning theory means to you and how you have applied it in your field of work. So that was really amazing for me.